Hello and welcome to Politics, a MuggleNet podcast about politics in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. I am one of your hosts, Adri, a recovering English major and someone who is exhausted by everything that is happening in the world.
I feel you there. I'm Helene, your host, producer. I'm going to start over. You make me laugh. Okay. Woo. I'm Helene, your host, producer, and generally known as someone way too busy for their own good.
Oh, that's me. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Hey Alex, trivia guru, infrequent napper, and yes, long pause giver. I do.
We're very eloquent tonight, ladies. Thank you for joining me.
I mean, we're ready for the presidential debate, are we not?
I feel like maybe we're just collectively channeling all our eloquence to one Kamala Harris, Queen of Debate, who is, I'm sure, right now as we are recording, instead of watching the vice presidential debate, mopping the floor with Mike Pence.
Hell yeah, she is.
In a socially distanced way.
Yes. Mops with masks on.
PPE.
I mean, she didn't go to my HBCU, but in the words of Issa Rae, I'm rooting for everybody black.
Hell yeah.
I like that. I like that. Well, on this episode, we will be diving deeply into Chapter 9, The Woes of Mrs. Weasley of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
This is the one where Ron and Hermione make Prefect, Harry doesn't, and Mrs. Weasley throws a party in their honor to celebrate.
But before we get to the chapter, it's time for our Potter Watch segment, where we discuss some of the latest news in the United States. We are talking about scissoring, but not the scissoring that you're thinking of. But this year's winners of the Nobel Prize in Chemistry are Dr. Emmanuel Carpenter and Dr. Jennifer Doudna, who have discovered a way to alter genetic code to combat inheritable diseases. There have been plenty of debates on whether science is powerful is ethical and whether or not we should see our genetic codes as features or flaws. Also, to note that these two are the first pair of women to be awarded and only 6th and 7th in line to receive the prize in general. It also stands that no Black person has ever received the Nobel Prize in any science.
Man, I was about to clap for them, and then that last part just kind of took all the air out of it.
Yeah, that went like womp womp.
I mean, we talk about the regimen and the standards for receiving these prizes, whether it's the Nobel, whether it's the Oscars, whether it's the Emmys. America's got a lot of prize winning going on, but just who gets these prizes is always up for debate. And I know a lot of Black scientists, particularly when Black and Micro went viral over Twitter this week, thanks to a really good friend of mine, because Black Girls Create does everything, even debate about science. But it just, for one, I don't think that you should see your genetic code as a flaw. We are all beautifully, well, and wonderfully made. And we're different for a lot of different reasons, whether you believe in religion, whether you believe in science, whether you believe in magic, and whether you have all three of those in your heart or you have one but not the other, it stands to reason that someone playing around with that code in order to make you look like them is problematic, to say the very least. But of course, as we do on the show, it's up for debate.
So I read this and I immediately thought of the movie Gattaca. Have you guys ever heard of that movie?
I have not.
In passing, but haven't seen it.
Okay, so I believe I actually had to watch this in like a science class at some point. Um, but it is literally like exactly it's set in 1997. It's not set in 1997. It was made in 1997. Set as like a futuristic um, what if kind of movie where like the plot is all completely about this question of whether or not the genetic code should be edited, basically. So like here, I'll read the synopsis really quick because it is very, very poignant to this point. It says, in the not too distant future, a less than perfect man wants to travel to the stars. Society has categorized Vincent Freeman as less than suitable given his genetic makeup, and he has become one of the underclass of humans that are only useful for menial jobs. To move ahead, he assumes the identity of Jerome Morrow, a perfect genetic specimen who is a paraplegic as a result of a car accident. With professional advice, Vincent learns to deceive DNA and urine sample testing, and just when he is finally scheduled for a space mission, the program director is killed and the police begin an investigation, jeopardizing his secret. So basically, like in this society, they are judged based solely on their genetics and their DNA, and they're kind of put into classes based on like what makes them perfectly genetic and what doesn't. And this guy wants to be an astronaut, and the only way he can do it is to try and trick people into thinking he has somebody else's genetic code. And it's in this futuristic setting. They have the science to tell what a child's genetic code is going to be before they are born and what problems they're going to have before they are born. And then the people with money are given the opportunity to fix those problems before the child is born. And the people without money are screwed.
Oh, so just like present day.
Exactly.
Also, how futuristic of a movie is this if you're still trying to tell people that disability is just an unfortunate thing that happens to perfect people?
Yeah, I mean, this movie was made, in 1997, so it was definitely like their version of futuristic is like 2005, Um, but it is very like it's very poignant to it's basically like it feels like the things that happened in this movie are like happening in real life now that we like have this science. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, ugh, goodness gracious. I, I, mm, yeah, I've got nothing. I'm just, I feel like we try so hard in media to make a certain demographic look like the perfect aesthetic, and then when you when you start to see the cracks in the facade, it's like this has to be a joke. This is a huge joke. But yes, for women wanting to push the boundaries of science, uh, yes, for women receiving their um I just hope that the science is being used for the power of good and not for the power of literal erasure of identity.
Well, from believing in science to people who didn't believe in science, the 23rd of October, Republicans came together to the White House to revel in the fact that they were going to get a chance to nominate Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. And it turns out that has been a super spreader event, which has infected many top Republican politicians, aides, and other staff with COVID, including the president, the first lady, and other personnel.
I just heard that Stephen Miller just tested positive too.
Yeah, no, I've read a perfect tweet about it.
What was like, do you know
it? Yeah, so it was like, it went from bat to human to bat again.
Oh God. Oh man. This is just.
I shouldn't laugh, but also, I'm sorry.
What are you gonna say, Kay?
I mean, I would offer thoughts and prayers, but I don't have any.
Yeah. No, this whole thing is just absolutely ridiculous. Like Trump, his messaging about all of this, but he actually does not realize or want to realize or admit that he's getting like healthcare that literally no one else could afford.
So he did put out a video today in which he looks like literal death spray painted in orange. And he said that like getting COVID was a blessing from God because now he knows that he got like this treatment that a lot of people haven't gotten access to, but he's going to make sure that every American from now on gets access to this treatment for free, which is like,
that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. He can't make, this is a promise he can't keep. Like he has actual like stocks in the company that makes this drug like that he's taking. So even like if he could keep that promise, he's going to end up profiting from that legislation. It's just a lot of bullshit.
This is sounding a lot like the Mexico's going to pay for the wall promise.
So that, and then, but before then, he was in Walter Reed for about 2 days. Then he got discharged, and I'm sure the doctors were not happy about that. He's been on steroids ever since, and those cause delusions and rage. So, fun fact, we have a delusional and raging idiot on steroids, which can heighten those two things.
You mean to tell me Trump gets free health care? He gets to basically lie and say that he can pay for other people's health care because it's $750 that he paid in taxes ain't covering it. And then he gets to be himself on drugs.
Himself times two.
To be more of himself, right? On drugs. That, he did this whole like what people are calling Covita thing on the balcony of the White House when he like got released from the hospital. He very visibly could not breathe well. And
is that funnier than Covfefe?
Huh?
Is that funnier to y'all than Covfefe?
And the Covita, yes.
I forgot about Covfefe.
I don't think that was this year. It's been so long, but I feel like that is a throwback. But
oh my God,
yeah.
Oh man,
what a way back Wednesday.
It's just very strange because I've spent this entire time kind of, and I know this is going to sound like I'm an awful human being, but I've spent this entire time kind of hoping that he would get it so that he could like experience the reality of it. But then the second that he did, I was like, oh crap, this is bad because he's just going to pass it off as a good thing. And he's going to recover. He probably won't die. And when he recovers, he's just going to like tell his base that like it's nothing to be scared of, and they'll just be more emboldened to go out and just like not care. And that's exactly what's happened so far.
All right. So, do we want to read a list of people who've tested positive?
No, but I do want to. I want to give thoughts and prayers to 3 people.
Okay.
Well, one person in a group. I hope that Claudia Conway is doing well.
Yes. Please give her her phone back, Kellyanne.
And I also hope that the poor, unfortunate workers at the White House get, and their families get to some sort of safe and active solution.
Yeah.
Because they don't deserve that at all.
Yeah, they're being forced into unsafe working conditions right now, and it is very sad.
Yeah. And while it would look bad to walk away from a check, and it would look bad, even worse, to walk away from a White House check, I hope that if somebody does decide to make that choice, that America, who does believe in science and also believes in basic humanity, would help that person out. Because I can't say that I would stay.
Oh, on that happy note.
I mean,
No, I agree. It's
I've got nothing for Trump, nothing good and nothing polite. So
yeah.
I
No,
got
totally.
people that actually deserve my energy.
What was that?
Dream texting me.
Oh, okay. And our last piece of news tonight is, we mentioned this briefly at the top, but the vice presidential debate is recording right now as we are recording this episode.
Recording.
Yes. It's not recording. It is live. It is going. Words are hard. The vice presidential debate is happening. That's the word I was trying to think of. Right now, at the time of recording this episode, while we speak, Kamala Harris requested a plexiglass divider prior to the debate, in which Pence declined at first. And I have been informed that he has now agreed to it. Obviously, we will know by the time this comes out, for sure.
Well, I sent you a picture.
Oh, you did?
You and Alex a picture that confirms the plexiglass.
Is this
but it's also hilarious.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna post this on social media because this is great.
It's like she's all of us, and I love it.
Want our listeners to caption this photo. That's
yes, I'll post it on social media and ask you all to caption it. I love that idea. We're gonna do that.
This is the best idea that has ever happened in the life of this podcast.
So
like, but did you though? She's making that face. Like,
follow Acchiopolitics on Twitter and Instagram at Acchiopolitics, and look for this picture that we are talking about right now and caption it, and we will give you lots of love and
we'll send you a sticker.
Okay, we'll send you a sticker. That too. Lots of claps.
Well, I mean, to the winner of the contest. Let me make sure.
Yes, the winner of the contest will get a sticker. We are stating that right now. But yes, anyway, the debate is happening. Kamala Harris is probably winning. I would not be surprised at all if that was the overwhelming consensus after tonight. But yeah, we'll let you know what we thought of it next week when we actually have a chance to watch it.
Kamala is making the same face that I make, or I've been told I make, when someone is talking shit. And in my head, I'm just like, I've got you. I'm going to tear you apart as soon as I get a chance to say it. Like, oh, you think you're so cute. Let me take you down a peg.
She's making the face I make when my students are trying to debate with me about whether or not if they turned it in on the right day, but at the wrong time, if it's still late.
To me, it's just like she's thinking, "Oh, you think you're cute? You think you're smart? That's funny.
That's
That's funny. I think it's cute that you think that."
Or like, you're not the first white man who thinks that you can debate me.
period.
Okay. So now we've got Hogwarts Debate Club, which is for listeners, this is our second iteration of Hogwarts Debate Club. We each will have 30 seconds to state our case on what we think the politic in the chapter is. And that's it. We'll have 30 seconds. I don't know what else to say.
We will post a poll on Twitter specifically.
On the twitter.com.
Yes, and possibly Facebook as well. It's hard to do it on Instagram when you want to choose between 3 options and not just 2. So we will post the Twitter
on you mean on Instagram. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. So we will post a poll on the social medias after the episode is released, and we would like you to vote on which of our hosts you think did the best job in the debate and who you think should win.
And K. Alex says it's always her, so
That's not what I said.
Can confirm she did say that.
Would you testify in front of a jury and say that?
Yes. I will put my hand on that book that I do not worship and swear an oath.
Oh, look at you running for president.
I would win.
All right, we're all winners here, ladies.
I'm about to mop the floor with y'all just for that.
I mean, you
okay,
probably
K.
will
Alex. Yeah, of course. K. Alex, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, and go.
Would you shut up?
Oh, no, sorry. 1 second.
Would you just shut up, man? You play that right before she's supposed to.
No, it was supposed to be 30 seconds and then that happened. But apparently it didn't.
Oh my God, that's great.
It didn't do it.
So much.
Huh?
I'm being targeted. I don't like it.
That is a blooper for me. I am so sorry. It was supposed to be 30 seconds of silence and then that, but I know what I did wrong. 1 second.
I did 40 seconds. I'm reclaiming my time.
All right. I'm just gonna do a stopwatch and then I'll just click on the thing when it's done. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. And go.
Death, doom, and depression, the politics of Mrs. Weasley and Harry are put on full display as denial, anger, anxiety, and fear to the forefront in both the form of a boggart and teenage angst. What to do when saying ridiculous both in your head and out loud doesn't work.
Would you shut up, man?
That was going to be like my funny thing for you guys today.
I really liked it. I did.
It was very well timed.
If she had actually taken the full 30 seconds, it would have had like more of a punch,
Okay, you need to not speak so quickly now.
I mean, I was trying to channel you. You were doing so well.
Yeah, you did really well last time. Yeah.
Yeah, but I took the whole 30 seconds. All right. Helene, I think you're next, right?
No, I'm last this week. But I can go next.
Okay, no. No, it's fine. I'll do it. I'll just have to make sure to do 2 things at once.
Yeah, sorry, I can't do it for you.
The politics of power. Cornelius seeking power and money. Lucius using money to get intel and power. Ron and Hermione getting power with prefect badges. Sirius and Harry want the power to determine their lives. Fred and George want the power to launch their business. And Molly just wants the power to protect her family. So anyway, it's all about power because politics is all about power. And I am still on my 30 seconds and...
Will you shut up, man?
I just love how you like vamped at the end.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? It might be less than 30. We're going to have to probably cut this to 15 seconds from now on.
No, because I honestly don't even know if mine will fit in 30 seconds.
No, I need 30, and I can't believe you still mop the floor with me. That's wild. Oh, man.
Nah. All right, Helene, are you ready?
Yes.
And go.
The politics of clout and superiority, particularly political clout. Lucius Malfoy making and creating his own political clout with Fudge through money that'll eventually serve him and his agenda in the future, touting his own perceived superiority over Mr. Weasley to make him feel inferior as well. Fred and George feeling superior to Ron for having been made prefect. Is that a defense mechanism? Also, most likely planning to use their clout as Ron's brothers now that he is a prefect to get away with things during the school year. Harry being conflicted over feeling superior. Dang it. Ah, man. I had like 2 more points too. Dang it. I was way more succinct and like able to use words a lot better during that than I thought I was going to be able to. I thought I was going to be.
You were fantastic.
I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to get all this out.
All right, so let's get into the weeds of the chapter, ladies, if you will. But let's do a rewind again, like we did last time, of what each of our politics were. So, Kay, Alex, your politics were of death, doom, and depression.
Yes, an exploration of how the wizarding world explores mental health, and as well as within that, the sacrifices of allyship.
So, me, Adri, my politics were the politics of power because every corner that we turned, power was on full display or people were seeking power in different avenues and in different ways. And Helene, your politic was for the politics of clout and political superiority, I believe.
Political clout and just superiority in general.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So when you mean political clout, you mean like the influence that people can have on each other politically, yes, with money and otherwise.
Using your own connections and influence in terms of politics to get what you want through influence. Yeah, I didn't say that well, but that's what I meant.
No, totally fine. Totally fine. So I wanted to talk real quickly when we go deep dive into the chapter. One of the things that really stood out to me in this reread and thinking about politics and troubling things is that Lucius Malfoy was well aware of Harry's trial, even though he doesn't work at the Ministry of Magic. And why should a civilian, quote unquote, have access to something like that? You know, so to that information.
So what does Lucius do? Because I guess I always just assumed he did work at the Ministry, but I guess I never really knew what he does.
Lucius interrogates, he intimidates, and
that's not a job.
Hires a really great hairdresser.
I mean, clearly.
So it's like, is the Malfoy money like literally all just inheritance? Does he not have some sort of high-paying job?
To my understanding of his, you know, of him, it's like old family money, and all he does is like throw it around and influence lawmakers. So like a lobbyist almost.
And that's a real stretch. Like, I'm kind of impressed that you like create job for Lucius because
Well, so yeah, according to the
be enough. Like,
according to the HP lexicon, under profession, it says inherited wealth estate owner. So his job is maintaining his house, I guess.
Yeah, so Mr. Weasley makes the point. I say lobbyist because Mr. Weasley makes this point earlier in the series, in the chapter, where he says, like, no, he just like throws money around to different pockets so that people owe him favors, and then they can either like delay passing laws or pass laws that
So
benefit him.
he's a lobbyist then.
So it's a
yes.
lobbyist position,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm remembering from Sorcerer's Stone, he's on the board of governors at Hogwarts.
He is.
Correct.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but that's kind of like being on the board of directors of a nonprofit. Like, that's not a paid position.
It's more of a title. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a title.
It's about influence.
Yeah, it's about influence, which
He is professional Death Eater. He could put that on his resume. I don't think that that's a paid position, but
Voldemort.coin, Tom paying folks. Let's hear about it.
what's the benefit plan?
Curses, maybe, you know, like
What's the benefits plan? Do they get good dental at Death Eater Inc?
You
do you
get
think they just get like a good crucio every like month or so?
You gotta give your boss your wand. You gotta give him a place to stay.
You have to sacrifice your son in order to keep him happy.
Oh,
so like a normal 9 to 5. Okay, cool. You know,
exactly. But sorry, we got so far away from your original point of why does
no, I didn't even make my fucking point. Okay, let's go back.
I thought your point was that what is a civilian?
I didn't even get to make my full point, which is that I thought it was super creepy that a whole ass adult was so invested in a trial that he shouldn't have known about
for a 15-year-old kid.
For a 15-year-old kid, and that that he was still trying to influence the outcome of that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Like, it's so creepy and disturbing. And then he's like, oh yeah, I just have like a thing with the minister. And it's like, yeah, but why are you here and not at his office? And also, like, why did you bring your entire like West Wing of your Gringotts bank, you know, like with you?
But if we count how many times throughout the series Harry lives rent-free in Lucius Malfoy's head.
But it kind of balances itself out because at least, especially throughout all of Half-Blood Prince, Draco Malfoy lives rent-free in Harry's head constantly. Yeah, like
talk about somebody who's got a job. Like, Draco really must be running around in Harry's head like a marathon.
Honestly, he is like obsessed with Draco to the point of like stalker in Half-Blood Prince. So it's kind of like, well, yeah, Lucius is obsessed with Harry and Harry's obsessed with Draco. It's a circle of obsession. There we go.
And I just might ship it. But don't.
But let's not. Let's not glorify toxic relationships. Thank you very much.
Period. Thank you for getting us back to earth.
Abusive relationships are not love.
No, definitely not. But I also think I find obviously the play between of just like the relationship we get to see here between Lucius and Fudge. It's also very interesting to see the interaction between Lucius and Arthur. And I think we've seen it a couple of times in like Goblet of Fire, and Chamber of Secrets. But that relationship, those interactions are always so interesting to me because these are two grown ass men who like literally fight like 12-year-old boys. And
it's like dads at a soccer game, to be quite honest. Like,
yeah.
And it's honestly, it's very reminiscent of Harry and Draco. Like, you know, Arthur is Harry and Lucius is Draco. And it's like the same type of resentment between each other and
They're taking
dislike.
school rivalry, like, they're taking their original school rivalry into adulthood. And, if you layer onto that, like, one's a Death Eater, the other one's in the Order of the Phoenix, then it's like,
I hadn't
whew.
even considered that Arthur and Lucius might have gone to school together and like what that might have been like.
Yeah, I'm always very weird about the timeline of the lives of the adults in the wizarding world, because it's like, okay.
Well, I assumed that they must have crossed
Everyone?
paths in school or somehow, because
They're about the same age.
Draco's like, oh, redhead, another Weasley,
It's
Yeah.
probably very similar to like the Draco Ron relationship, and at least in
Yeah.
Sorcerer's Stone at first
Yeah.
too, for sure.
It's like Snape went to school with Harry's parents, but they didn't go to school with the Malfoy. It's all, I'm always trying to be like, okay, who's older, who's doing what, and apparently Dumbledore taught all of them. Okay, that makes.
Well, but remember, I mean, they sometimes when you are like 2 grades apart, you could still be at school together,
And you just
but
never
not
really,
interact.
you don't cross
Oh yeah,
paths.
for sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are interacting the most are people in the same grade, across the houses. But if you're in a different house and in a different grade, they might not even
Yeah,
know.
I
I mean, they might know of their existence, but not really cross paths that much.
that also makes me think about what how Lucius approach his rivalry with Arthur if Arthur wasn't poor. If you
I
gave
mean, I think he would see
the
Arthur.
influence and affluence of Lucius Malfoy, how would those arguments go? Because that's literally pretty much the basis of almost every argument that the Malfoys have with the Weasleys. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
rich.
but I think it started like how Draco and Ron got started, which is more like contempt because you're poor, and that's how you
So,
define each other.
well, so I think that he would definitely look, because they're both purebloods, right? And that's like the first thing that the Malfoys care about. So I think that
Mhm.
if they weren't poor, he would at least have a modicum of respect for him also being a pureblood. But then I think at the same time he would turn around and instead of chastising him for being poor, he would just, have that same hatred and vile towards him just for supporting mudbloods and, and not trying to, what's the word, maintain the pure blood lines of the wizarding world, because the Weasleys, yeah, they hate them because they're poor, but they also hate them because they are all yeah, they're all for like intermarriage and marrying muggles and things like that. And the Malfoys are not for that. So I think it really, like, yes, being poor is a big thing, but I don't think it's the deciding factor.
Mm.
Well, do we even know if Lucius Malfoy or Draco are friends with people who don't have money, though?
I don't
No,
I don't think
Seems
so.
to me like if you don't have power or money, they're not interested in you.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why they are like the definition of Slytherin, and like not like evil, but like Slytherin's all about ambition and aligning yourself with people that can make you better.
yeah, or make you look as if you're better.
Mhm.
Because Draco, I wouldn't necessarily call Crab and Goyle friends as much as I would call them cronies.
Yeah, yeah,
Lackey.
Versus his relationship with Blaze and Beanie is real different.
because they're on the same level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. Okay, who's who's on who's really on the upper echelon, you know,
Yeah.
and like and who's really like just on the elevator looking cute.
Well, it's all about power. It goes back to power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, who has the
Adri,
power?
your politic was really good. We get it.
Well, I mean, my politic was just very general and generic and can be applied
Wait,
to any circumstance.
I have a question though. Are we doing a thing where like are we allowed to repeat politics for future episodes? So like, can you say the politics of power again for
Every
future?
time, yes.
No, I feel like it should be a thing where like if you use it once, you cannot use it again. So this was your one time to use the politics of power.
That's my vote.
Once every book.
Fine, once every book. I can deal with once every book.
Because come on, like, you're gonna run out of politics by the time we're done.
No, but I mean, like this would not be the chapter I would choose to do the politics of power in this book.
Well, someone's feeling smug.
I mean, it fits really well, but I feel like you're going to feel screwed later on in the book where you're like, man, the politics of power would be perfect here. And I already used it.
Right.
Oh, man, I can't believe we've already, like, we've been talking for so long about the chapter discussion so far, and we've literally not gotten past, like, the first, like, page of
The
the
first
chapter.
scene. The first scene.
Yeah. We have so much to say about the Malfoys.
It's because it's a hot topic, okay?
It is.
Yeah, it is. And because people
Also, could you imagine Lucius Malfoy in a Hot Topic store? This is beautiful.
Oh, when you said hot topic, my mind went to The View, but yeah.
You'd be like, how gauche.
They're only living in my head right now because someone revealed on Twitter that Tom Felton, who plays Draco, only receives 30, like over a half an hour of screen time throughout the entire series. And I was like, that can't be right. Like, that absolutely.
No.
All the scenes that he was in, and I was like, wait,
no way.
An hour.
What? I mean, I feel like he gets more than half an hour in Half-Blood Prince alone.
No, he literally just gets all that time in Harry's head.
Oh my goodness gracious. That is crazy. Oh my goodness.
Speaking of things in Harry's head, what do we think about Harry feeling all kinds of conflicted about not being made prefect?
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I want to go first. This is one of my all-time favorite Harry chapters of like the entire series. Because of this. I love what we get to see in Harry in this chapter because we get to see so much of what he goes through in like and how he handles everything so maturely for somebody in his position. Because if you think about it, he has this like immature inner monologue where at first he's like, man, like it's not fair. I do so much more and I'm like so much more deserving of Ron than he is for this prefect thing. And then it kind of turns into, wait, like, why am I thinking this? This is like so immature of me. I should be happy for him. He's my friend. He didn't ask for this. He didn't do anything wrong. And he kind of talks himself into being genuinely happy for him. And we get to see this like super mature conclusion at the end of it. And I just got to say, he handles this like the same situation happens to Ron in Goblet of Fire when Harry got chosen to be in the Triwizard Tournament. And Ron let his jealousy get the best of him. And Harry did the opposite here. So I just really like to call that out. Ron, and Adri knows this, but Ron is like my least favorite character. I really dislike Ron. And because of what he did in Goblet of Fire, is one of the main reasons. And so here I love that we get to see Harry going through something very similar and taking the high road and being the bigger person and like admitting that he loves his friend. His friend is a good person. And while he might be upset and jealous, he's not going to let that affect his own well-being or his friendship or their relationship. And it's just, I love it. I love it. I love you, Harry. Rant over. That's my soapbox.
Okay. Well, if it's my turn to step up to bat, I've got a couple of curveballs to throw our way here. One, and this is totally going to sound like an unhumble brag, because it is. Voted most likely to succeed, most intelligent, and was class valedictorian while varsity lettering in 2 sports. Harry has every right to be pissed off at this part. Just off of, even if we're erasing academic record, which Harry does do in his, I guess, mature talk down of why he wasn't made a prefect. Ron still hadn't brought shit to the table. Like,
Preach.
I don't like, and it would be different if like Ron was receiving prefect as like a most improved kind of thing. Like, oh, he's grown as a person.
But has he
And,
yet?
Like, I don't believe that the prefect badge should be a participation trophy. I just don't.
Well, I think with Ron, it is very largely symbolic in this sense. I like, and I know that the Ron stands are going to come after me, and I've tried to hear arguments as to why people think Ron truly deserved this, and it's just, I'm sorry, it's bullshit. He
The math don't add.
he
And
didn't deserve it.
no, he didn't. And the this also, and I might have to like do a mini segment on of the author, but the only reason why she gave Ron this badge is A, so we can see this little mental dialogue of Harry.
Or it's just to cause tension. Yes.
Yeah, to put Ron and Hermione in this like very awkward space where they're traveling the halls at night together, which is some sort of romantic, whatever people want to call it. And C, because she didn't have the mind to actually give it to somebody who deserved it, aka Dean Thomas.
Yeah, Dean Thomas would have deserved it. I think, like, if we're talking,
it's called
like
the forced proximity trope in romance. I think.
Yeah.
Give Black men their prefect badges, people.
If we're talking about like in canon, like why Dumbledore gave it to, like, I mean, yes, why J.K. Rowling gave it to Ron, but why, like, obviously, I think Dumbledore gave it to Ron for the exact same reason that he gave it to Lupin. And that's just to keep an eye on your damn friends, you know? Like, and Ron isn't going to do it.
Academically talented. Let's not.
Well, yeah, Lupin. No, I mean Lupin deserved it more than Ron did, but the main reason Dumbledore gave it to Lupin, and Lupin admits this later in the chapter, is because he wanted him to keep an eye on his friends and try and, you know, keep them in line, which obviously didn't. Yeah, it didn't work for Lupin, and it's not going to work for Ron or Hermione. But I really like. I think he gave it to Ron as largely a symbolic gesture here.
No, and we need to really stop boosting white men's confidence with faux accolades. Like, let's just stop making that a thing. Like,
I agreed.
make characters earn shit. Like, and people talk about this all the time with like other protagonists. Like, oh, I hate Captain Marvel because she doesn't earn it. She just can kill Thanos whenever. Or, oh, I don't understand why Rey became the Jedi because she didn't train as much as Luke and she doesn't do all the things that Kylo Ren does. Never mind that he's an actual fucking Nazi and a father killer, but hey, whoever. Cool. Sorry, those are my rants about other fandoms, but like, stop giving white men participation trophies. It makes them think they're cool.
What do you think, Adri?
I mean, yeah. Agree. No, it's. I'm gonna step aside from like the why did Ron get it thing, because we know it's for narrative reasons, for lazy narrative reasons, and for like, oh, the Weasleys' legacy reasons. And also it creates a nice tension between Draco and Ron. So it creates all these tensions, like narrative tensions that wouldn't happen if, say, Neville or Dean were prefect. That being said, yes, we need to stop giving mediocre and poor poor not in this economic sense, like poor performing white men, these opportunities that they don't deserve. I've seen this my entire life, and I'm tired of it. Your girl's tired of it.
Man, that is in the sense of how badass would Neville have stepped up to the plate if he had been made prefect?
I mean, I agree with that Dean, was a really good candidate, but imagine Neville. You know what I mean? Like, yes.
Yeah.
I would have preferred Dean to Neville, personally.
No, absolutely. But I'm just talking about if you were trying to do actually like intriguing secondary character becomes protagonist,
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
it would have been nice to at least see you try,
Yeah. I feel like he gave it to Ron because he couldn't give it to Harry, honestly. And
Oh, yeah,
by proxy. So it's like a by proxy thing, like.
But I do want to say I thoroughly apologize to all listeners who love Ron. I know this might be hard for you to hear, and it's hard to hear people criticize like one of your favorite characters. I know a lot of people think Ron is, a lot of people have Ron as their favorite character. So I do apologize, but
I mean, I am a noted Ron apologist, as you know, Helene. And even I agree he does not deserve this badge.
This is how you know you have a Hufflepuff and a Gryffindor and a Ravenclaw on this segment. The Hufflepuff comes with the apology.
Yeah.
The Gryffindor
Too much of it.
with the fight, and the Ravenclaw has to come with the receipts. The math.
I'm sorry. The Gryffindor what?
The Gryffindor has to come in and be like, she's right, but fight me. And then and the Ravenclaw has to come with the receipts. The math don't add. He didn't deserve the badge. The end.
Yeah, I'm too much of an empath. I'm sitting here like I have all these negative feelings towards Ron. And the minute I express them, I immediately am like, oh God, what are the people who love Ron gonna think? Like my opinions haven't changed. I don't think of Ron favorably in many situations. But I know so many people who love Ron that I'm like, I'm sorry.
But and to swing it back to the politics of power, because I have to weigh in on Adri's excellent take here. I have a theory, and it might be a very repeated theory, but this is one of the first conversations that Harry has with the Horcrux in his head.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I've heard this theory before, and I think it's fascinating.
It is.
I think it's Tom telling him one of the Tom makes sense. Like, wait, but you better than him. How would you? How would you? You've been sticking your neck out. You've been fighting everybody. You've been taking these dubs. Like,
yeah, I mean, I do. I kind of have subscribed to this theory.
Okay, so by that logic, I must be filled with Horcruxes.
Well, no, okay.
You.
So, like, I have subscribed to this theory because, one, I think, like, yes, the Horcrux probably has like a very like negative influence on Harry, but on the other half, I like to think that Harry does have this jealousy in him just naturally, and he just doesn't allow himself to feel it very often. And in this chapter, we get to see him allowing himself to feel his emotions and then allowing himself and actively trying to evaluate and work through those emotions, which I think for someone who has gone through all the trauma that he has gone through and hasn't seen a therapist, I think that that's fucking amazing. Like, admire Harry so much in this chapter because of all of the mental um, bargaining and monologue that he goes through to get to where he is at the end of the chapter. I just love it.
I can only think of one reason in my head why Harry, two reasons why Harry could legitimately, I'm not speaking right today, legitimately be jealous of Ronald Weasley.
Family?
Want to hear this?
Yes, parents.
Parents and getting to be with Hermione Jean Granger. That's it.
I personally don't think Harry ever had any romantic feelings towards Hermione, but I can see why you think that. Yeah, why you think that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of like weird to think that Harry would be jealous of Ron in, the aspect of like accolades and achievements and accomplishments, because Harry obviously is so much further ahead of him in that area.
I mean, you're living and breathing without a Dark Lord narcissist Nazi chasing after you. That might be one additional reason to be jealous. Like, oh, you get to live your life in peace.
Yeah, and that's why that's why I hate Ron so much, because he doesn't understand that he actually has it so much better than Harry, and he always lets his jealousy for Harry affect him and their relationship when it shouldn't. Harry doesn't let it affect them. He has jealousy too. It's just, I just can't. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go on.
All right. Any closing thoughts on the chapter?
I just wanted to briefly bring up Fred and George, because I think they play a very large factor in this.
Oh yeah, the neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their reaction to the news when they hear it about Ron, and then their reaction to Molly's reaction. I think that we see a lot of multifaceted, like we see a lot of sides to Fred and George in this chapter that you don't usually see. Like Fred and George are very, like, I don't know, 2D characters. I want to say throughout the series, they're all just funny pranks,
comic relief.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't get to see a lot of like depth to them, and I love them, and that's not like me crapping on them, because I think they're awesome. But I think here you get to see. I think their reaction to Ron getting Prefect is a defense mechanism. I mentioned that briefly in my 30
definitely.
seconds. I think that I think they genuinely don't want to be prefects, but I do think that them making fun of him for it is them kind of protecting themselves against the hurt that they feel when they know that their family is going to think that Ron is better than them.
Oh yeah, and totally agree. And I don't know if you guys grew up in one of these households, but I mean, I did a very unhumble brag about my academic accolades, but it was also because I had parents that told me that school was my job, and grades were basically like the paycheck, pretty much. Considering that I did literally get paid for good grades.
Sweet.
That, I mean,
That's nice.
But now as a teacher myself too, I have to kind of check myself on seeing my students for more than their academic record, and understanding that all gifts and talents aren't even manifested in the classroom. And I mean, we've got all the more of this book to talk about Hogwarts' educational fallacies, but the fact that Fred and George have a very unique and divergent skill set that manifest in owls or head boy or just the things that you would write home to mom about.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of see your parents be like, well, what are you here for? Especially when their moral code is much stronger than their quote unquote smartest brother, because
Percy?
in his quest for power, Percy he has completely abandoned and even embarrassed his family.
Yeah. I think that they are constantly what's the word? Words compared to their siblings, and in a lot of ways they are on par or even better than some of their siblings in certain aspects, but they don't get the recognition because it's not in like qualitative ways that their parents can look at.
Yeah, and it's not specifically because honestly, I think that Arthur appreciates Fred and George much more than Molly does. Because they obviously get his inventive and curious nature from him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But as in very true stay-at-home mom fashion, it's like, okay, you're not out here getting good grades. You are an embarrassment.
Yeah,
Like,
and you would think that a family in the wealth standing as the Weasleys would actually appreciate their entrepreneurial side more, because people who grew up without money and people who live without money very much so value the ability to make money.
Well, but I think, if I may interject really quickly, I think the reason that she doesn't is because it's not a tried and true way of making a living, a comfortable living. And she's wanting all her kids to go into the Ministry of Magic or into a field where they will get a steady paycheck.
yeah, it is. It's the classic be your own boss versus collect a check.
Mm-hmm.
True. True. Yeah, I could totally see that.
And considering that the wizarding world doesn't really have a lot of job opportunities or options, as
Yeah.
we later on in the series, you can kind of see where Molly's thinking comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, okay, Molly, what were your dreams before you became a mother? Like, what did your parents teach you to do?
Don't make me cry.
But, in thinking about family and looping back into my argument on mental health, Mrs. Weasley has lost 2 brothers. And she's just trying to make sure in a very narrow-minded way to make sure that her family can stay on a steady and safe path.
Yeah. Very true.
So I don't think they would be any safer working in the ministry than anywhere else, but that's just me.
True. Especially with the Voldemort looming over everybody.
Right.
Man, there's a lot to unpack in this chapter. Crazy. Did you want to move on, Adri? Or did you
Are we
want to?
ready to move on to Dementors and Chocolate?
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
there's totally more to talk about, but I mean,
But we also gotta wrap it up soon.
yep.
All right, so now moving on to Dementors and Chocolate for this chapter. I will start with my Dementor for this chapter. I thought that the portrayal of one Mrs. Weasley as a quote unquote nagging mother and a slash doting mother is kind of like the Madonna whore complex of mothers. Like, it's like she's either nagging or loving on you, like there's no in between. Um, and Molly's much more complex than that. as we will find with the Bogart situation, but it's a little bit the author's portrayal of Molly in chapters like these is just what irks me a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I get that. Kind of in the same vein, my Dementor is the mental health of both Harry and Mrs. Weasley being cast off as inconsequential in their moments of anxiety and self-doubt. I think that facing a Boggart that traumatic should have been met with a little bit more. The compassion was there, but the logical follow-ups with self-care and with doing the due diligence into what the Order of the Phoenix is going to do to make sure that that doesn't come to pass just wasn't there. And of course, Harry's little interlude with Professor Moody didn't help either.
Yes.
So kind of just seeing that that blatant disregard of like trauma and just fear, really. The Wizarding World really sucks at addressing to me.
My Dementor was Harry's obvious lack of mental stability throughout the chapter. He you kind of read it and it feels like a roller coaster. He's up, he's down, he's up, he's down, he's up, he's down. And literally just the tiniest thing can flip him. One sentence can make him so elated and happy, and then turn around and the next minute he is just so down and out again. And it really just worries me, and is an omen for things to come in this book. And it just proves that boy needs a therapist. He really does.
All right, let's talk about the chocolate in this chapter. I think for me, the chocolate was Harry's like growth, like internal growth and machinations within himself to say, I have to be happy for my friends, even though this really sucks for me. And like, life is not fair. I get it, And like, that is not growth that I have learned for myself, and to like not dwell on things that are not fair. So I have to learn from Harry there.
I guess I need to learn that lesson too.
I will say I'm always happy for my friends. I never see them as competition. But when things happen to me that are unfair, I dwell on them a little bit too much.
Can I point out that last episode we were like applauding the pettiness of Dumbledore, and this episode we are applauding the lack of pettiness from Harry?
Well, you know what? We span the gamut.
Exactly.
Right. We love a dynamic character. Though I am the last person to call myself a fan of his, I do applaud Ron being able to have a moment of comfort and triumph. I feel like that is something all teenagers should experience, though they should earn it. But as seeing it from a poor kid getting a chance and getting a chance to have an opportunity to have something of his own, seeing him get his broomstick was a really nice piece of chocolate for me, especially because we know what he does with it.
Yeah.
That sounded sexual. I just want to point that out.
The hands out together. First it's scissors, it's brooms.
Oh my god. Oh my lord. No, I mean, Ron deserved a little bit of an ego boost. because he really is just lacking in confidence left and right. So this was a little nice moment for him.
Don't get carried away, though.
Yeah, exactly. My chocolate also has to do with Harry because Harry is life. But my chocolate is Harry's empathy and kindness towards his best friend, winning out over his jealousy, having that mental battle with himself, and him ultimately choosing the path of humility and just love for his best friend rather than making it into a fight, which he easily could have done.
Look at you. Look at us. Look at where we are.
Look at where we are.
I mean, we're only being mature right now because we know it gets worse.
Yeah, we'll see.
Guys, we've just been loving your submission all the socials and answering our questions. And last week, we posed the following question. Do you think emotion has a place in law enforcement? Why or why not?
We got this awesome response from @GreenChristine on Twitter that we wanted to share with you all. Emotional intelligence facilitates law enforcement's capacity for resilience, motivation, empathy, reasoning, stress management, communication, and ability to read and navigate a plethora of social situations and conflicts. With great power comes great responsibility / due diligence.
We loved that response @Green Christine. Thank you so much. This week's question is, do you think Ron deserved the prefect badge? Why or why not? We want to know your thoughts, so please reach out to us on social media or send us an email with your answer, and we might just read it on next week's episode.
Whew. All right, guys. let's stretch and cool down with the media we've been consuming.
Oh yeah.
You're first, Adri.
Oh yeah, I'm first. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. I'm so tired.
I feel you, girl.
I'm tired of the patriarchy. So, for the media that I have been consuming, I have two shout outs today. So, one is the movie Booksmart is available on Hulu for free, and it's fantastic. And it's a very, coming of age story type situation, like last day of senior year for like these two wonderful ladies, and shenanigans happen. Blah, 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 blah. It's fantastic. Please watch it. And the illustrated book, Wander by Beatrice Blue, which is a beautiful book with illustrations and notes on the creative process. And I just love when people kind of show us their stuff and how it got made and why it got made that way.
That's awesome. Guys, you know what time it is. You know what day it is. It's spooky season. Then I've been watching all the Halloween movies wherever I can find them. Whoever wants to watch them with me. Halloween Town, all three. Don't Look Under the Bed, Addams Family, and of course, Hocus Pocus, which, by the way, has a fabulous sequel. You should go get it wherever books are sold. And by the way, just so we're clear, Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween movie. Sip your pumpkin juice and all hail the Pumpkin King.
I have a confession. I've never seen Nightmare Before Christmas, but I mean, I always just assumed it was more of a Christmas movie. I will try to watch it for you. How about that?
Yes. Fun fact, Hocus Pocus and Nightmare Before Christmas came out in the same year, and they wanted Nightmare Before Christmas to be pushed out as a Halloween movie. So that's why Hocus Pocus came out in the summer.
Wow. That year, whatever year that was a good year for movies. sounds like.
93, I believe.
Oh my God, that was
What a spooky year.
That was the year I was born. I was born in the spooky year. Yes. My
God, you're
immediate.
such a youth.
I am a youth. Hi, old.
Is K Alex a medium? Like you're a youth, K Alex is a medium, and I'm an old.
Yes, I'm a teen. I am the angsty teen.
Adolescent. She's an adolescent.
Okay, I love it.
Mine is this week I've been watching Schitt's Creek on Netflix. I'd never tried it before, but then it won all those Emmys, and I was like, why not give it a shot? It's delightfully lighthearted, very entertaining, and I do like that it has a very positive portrayal of a pansexual, which you do not get to see very often in media. So David Rose is also just my favorite character. And
I was
love
going to
him.
ask if David was your favorite.
Yes, I love David. He's amazing. So if you want to see some good representation of pansexual people in the world, I highly suggest watching Schitt's Creek. Also, it's just nice for a good laugh too. So love it.
Awesome.
I mean, Moira is also like low-key another one of my favorites, but only because she's so dramatic.
I took a like which Rose family person are you quiz on BuzzFeed, and I got Johnny. So
Well,
I was hoping for David, but I got Johnny.
It's okay. We all want to be David, but secretly we're all just Johnny.
I think honestly, I'm probably most like Stevie, to be honest, but that's just a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's it for today's episode. Join us next week to talk about Chapter 10 of Order of the Phoenix, Luna Lovegood.
But you can find us everywhere online at Aciopolitics and at aciopolitics.com. You can support our podcast by becoming a patron and get physical goodies every 3 months for $5 a month at patreon.com/Aciopolitics.
Yeah, that includes a monthly sticker designed by yours truly. I mean, who doesn't want that?
You want that, I promise you. If you're thinking, if you're questioning it, let me tell you right now, listeners, you want that. You do.
Stickers for July, August, September, and October have already gone out. So all I'm saying is patrons are getting their stuff in the mail soon.
Woohoo!
Also, we'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a voicemail at 915-996-1699 with all your burning thoughts and questions. You can also email us an MP3 of yourself at info@aciopolitics.com, or you can just, type us a regular old email and send us your thoughts that way.
Until then, politics managed. Keep safe and keep faith. Good night.